Between school, your friends, and social media, answers are everywhere, but where can you find the truth? Welcome to the StudentCast. We're asking for a friend so you don't have to.
Welcome back to the StudentCast. My name is Ka'eo, and I'm here with my friend Brynn.
What's up, guys? We are back asking questions for a friend so you don't have to. And today we have one of our best friends here with us.
What's up, guys? It's Michael here. How's it going?
Michael, so glad you're here. What do you do here at the Well?
I am the middle school pastor at the North Campus here, so we get to work with 6th through 8th graders.
So fun.
That's awesome.
He's also one of our best friends. We talked about pickleball a few episodes back.
Yes.
Michael is one of the pickleball crew.
Yeah,
We haven't played in a while.
I know we need to
it's
do it
just getting
again.
cold.
It is cold. Okay, speaking of the weather, so it is November. We are gearing up. I mean, Thanksgiving breaks around the corner and Christmas. And we all really know that even though it's like before Thanksgiving, it's really already Christmas season.
Yes.
Because my apartment is already
I was
decorated.
just going to ask, what does your apartment look like right now?
It is Christmas time.
That's how you know.
Yeah.
That's how we know.
Yeah. It's the best. It's like,
Everyone just check Brynn's apartment. That's what season we're in.
yeah, absolutely.
In case you forget.
Just don't check the calendar in my apartment because that's never up to date.
It's like 2 months behind.
Yeah, all the time.
Got
But a lot of times people kind of reference this season as cuffing season.
Wait, how do we define that?
Okay, literally. So I was shocked by this. Merriam-Webster actually
The
does.
Merriam-Webster?
Yeah, our guy, Merriam-Webster.
He has a definition.
He has a definition
I
for
thought this
cuffing
was too
season.
modern.
Well, he's
Yeah,
like,
he's trendy.
he's progressive.
Yeah, he's hip with it.
That's the
And
wrong
so
word.
Merriam-Webster says that cuffing season refers to a period of time where single people begin looking for short-term partnerships to pass the colder months of the year. Cuffing season usually begins in October and lasts until just after Valentine's Day.
Well, he's not wrong there, and all God's people said amen.
Amen.
Finding someone to pass the time? That's healthy right there.
So unhealthy.
not.
For the record,
No,
that
it is
is unhealthy. But we both are very passionate about that right now. But I think, I don't know, sometimes what it sounds like he's saying is that cuffing season is kind of this solution to a feeling of loneliness during that season of the year. And so, I don't know, my question for you guys is like, have you ever felt that loneliness? Have you ever entered into cuffing season?
Well, I think before we even get there, we have to talk about that there's a difference between being alone and feeling lonely. So, like, you can be alone, and that's just in the physical expression of, like it's more on your circumstances. Like, I'm not with a group of people. But feeling lonely is like it's an emotional experience. Like, I'm feeling sad or abandoned, or I'm feeling unloved or unworthy. And so that's why we can feel alone or we can feel lonely in a crowded room.
So even if we're not alone, we can still be feeling lonely when we're surrounded by people.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
more of like an internal experience of how you're perceiving, like other people perceive you, which is why like a lot of times in cuffing season, people are almost, it's like just like this weird cycle because I'm seeing everyone else being with couples.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wait,
I don't have that.
yeah, so I'm feeling lonely and I'm feeling sad and unworthy and,
Absolutely.
you know?
Yeah, I totally get that. That's something, I mean, I've gone through a cuffing season. I almost said cussing season. I've gone through many a cuffing season. In high school, I was in 4 different relationships, and I think all of them started during cuffing season, right around like October, November, and did not last very long. And so, yeah, I mean, I definitely get that feeling of loneliness. Like, okay, I want to find something just to make myself feel less lonely. I want to find someone to help me pass this time,
Yeah.
essentially.
Well, I don't blame anyone that does it because it's like the whole culture thing just is like, it reiterates that we should have somebody during this season.
Oh,
Yeah.
it
Holidays,
glorifies
you know?
relationships.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, yeah, you think of like, I don't know, me and my friends used to always talk about, even still, it's like, oh my gosh, yeah, like I want to find someone so that we could like go down Candy Cane Lane together and like, oh, we can make gingerbread houses, go to the pumpkin patch, like
Which
all
is
these
fun,
things.
yeah, and that's great
So
things.
fun.
Yes.
But they're kind of like marketed as a thing that you do in a couple relationship.
Yeah, well, even all the movies in the holiday season, it's all about finding the guy and the
Yes.
girl, and then like under the mistletoe,
Yes.
New Year's Eve, like we're trying to get that New Year's kiss, right? And then we kind of blurred into like Valentine's Day, and that's when we're like, oh
Yes.
gosh, wait, no.
Yeah.
Wait, is this serious?
Yeah, exactly. That's when the
Yeah.
DTRs come out. We're like, wait, what? This was
Tough.
fun.
And the weather starts warming up, and you're like, "Oh, I don't need you anymore." That's how I
Wait.
felt all the time. Oh yeah, during these winter months, like the whole cuffing season came. It's like the reason it's called cuffing season is because like during the winter, like the nights are longer and stuff. There's less things to do during the day. There's less time, so like there's more time to just sit around at home, maybe watching movies or something. And you can do that by yourself, but it's pretty easy to get lonely in those times. So you find someone to like actually fill that time with, to do that with, and it's fun, you know.
Yeah.
And then, or there's the like the more scientific like background on it, which is like
Did you do some research?
I Googled something.
Nice. Yeah. To your friend Google?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My friend Google. And like their serotonin levels during winter is like lower than normal. And so typically when we feel that, we're like feeling more down. And so we try and find someone to like make us feel better. And so like, and then when like the weather starts to warm up, serotonin naturally goes up and you kind of realize, oh, I don't actually need this person anymore.
Oh, wow.
I don't need you. I kind of just used you. You were just for a season.
Dang,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Well, and so what I'm hearing you guys say is like, it sounds like cuffing season almost is like a solution to an unidentified problem that might be behind the scenes. Like, I don't really know what this feeling is or where that's coming from, but I do know there's a solution found in another person.
Yeah.
And a lot of times both people are actually trying to find some sort of solution in each other.
Which is why we say this isn't healthy, right? We're just
Yeah.
using each other, like what Michael said, to like
Exactly.
fill a void that honestly I don't really know that the other person could.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
You're just both using each other, and then at some point, because you can't be everything for each other, they're gonna get hurt, and or you realize you don't need them anymore, and then they're gonna get hurt. Someone's gonna get hurt.
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's like acknowledge one thing. It's not necessarily bad to be in a relationship during this season.
That's true.
So how
No,
do we
no.
identify if we are doing kind of the unhealthy thing of like, I feel lonely and so this person's going to fix that for me, or if it's like, oh no, I'm just in a relationship during this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you kind of have to identify like, okay, well, what am I feeling? What am I running to? Like, if I'm feeling down and stuff, I'm just running to that. Then, like, I mean, it's a pretty clear marker that like you're just in a relationship because you're feeling lonely, you know, that sort of thing. But like when you're feeling down, you're running to say like community or like God and that sort of thing. Then it's like, okay, maybe you're doing that well. You can be lonely. You can feel lonely and still like go into a relationship healthy, I think. But if you're just running to a relationship to completely fulfill that loneliness, then yeah, I don't know. That's unhealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, me and my wife like started in like cuffing season as well. But I think the motivation behind that was more like it wasn't necessarily like I was wanting her to fill a void,
Yeah.
but I was like pursuing her for like like what I would like us to be later. So I really think it is like a perspective on like why am I actually running to this relationship in the first place?
Yeah. Well, and I think having a mindset where you are realistic with the fact that if there's a problem or like something that you're processing before you're in a relationship, that will still be there.
Yeah.
At like when you're in the relationship. So if you're feeling like an overwhelming sense of loneliness before you're in a relationship, I would go to bet odds are you will still feel that when you're in a relationship.
You might
because
not feel it for a little bit,
yeah,
but then it will come back.
that's
Sorry.
true. Yeah, no, that's super true. And I think there's, because of the fact that there's such high expectations on that person to combat a whole feeling that goes outside of them and like their power.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. What essentially we're thinking that this is going to go ahead and fill a hole in our heart, and then we've put, like just kind of what you said, Brynn. We've put someone there that God should be in, and then ultimately we set them up for failure.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah. Well, and I know at least like from my own experience, I remember feeling like super, I don't know, like bad about myself or like super unwanted or rejected or things if you like got through. I remember it'd be like Christmas break and it's like, all right, I failed cuffing season. Like there's no one here, right? And then it's like, okay, there's something wrong with me because I wanted that and then it didn't happen. And so like obviously in that situation, you're either going to put blame on other people or on yourself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think for me, I operate in the, I will like always put blame on myself.
Internalize
And
it,
so
yeah.
I don't know. What do you guys say to that? Like, I don't know, that experience.
I think in those times, I mean, you're just searching for like worth or something in someone else. And I mean, that's once again, it's the same thing. You're trying to root something in someone else when it should be rooted in Christ.
Yeah.
I think it's just really hard because it's like, I think it's very difficult for us to even navigate that whole thing because a lot of our self-worth is often we want other people to define that because we just don't believe like what God says about us. So we're hoping that other people will affirm that so we can start believing it. And that's why cuffing season is so sweet because it's in that season where it's like, oh my gosh, it's like really quick. It's a really fast honeymoon season, you know?
And there's pretty like tangible markers for someone to show you they care about you in
Yeah.
that season.
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Whereas over like summer months and things, it's like, all right, I have to be really creative.
Maybe be really intentional.
Yeah. Whereas this is like, we could go to the pumpkin patch and you're like, wow, my boyfriend's so like intentional and creative. But I don't know.
I think that's very real, and like it really sets us up to be like this fake sense of like connectedness, fake sense of like love, and value and worth and even just like care. And then recognizing that once that season's over, we're like, shoot, this doesn't solve my situation. You know what I mean?
I get that.
So like what are you gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, I think it brings us to two questions. I think ultimately, like, if someone's getting cuffed right now, how can they make sure that they're not just trying to use someone, that they're not just trying to fill a void that like only Christ can fill? Or maybe someone realizes like, oh, I'm feeling lonely, and like if I was to get in a relationship right now, I'd just be trying to fill that void. You know, how do they combat that? How do they fight those feelings of loneliness?
I think one thing would be like seeking out your own community, whether that's like a mentor or like people you're in life group with, or I don't know, trusted adult, someone who like sees a lot of your life and has kind of had a front row seat to what your own processing has looked like. And like asking them, what do you think I'm doing this out of? Like, do you think that I'm just trying to fill a void right now, or do you think I'm ready for this? And so there's work before that question even comes to already having that community in place.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the worst things that we can do is try and figure it out on our own.
Yeah,
because
totally.
when we're trying to figure it out on our own, like I think that's where the enemy wants us to be. It's like, okay, you're just with your own thoughts, and like sometimes you can't really trust your thoughts, and so it's really I can't trust my thoughts, and so it's really beneficial to have someone to talk to that kind of knows how you think and stuff, and can help you process out like, okay, is this something that I'm like actually ready for? Would this be good for me right now, or would this be like almost self-destructive?
I think we have to start with, I have to be okay with saying that I'm lonely.
Yeah.
That's real.
Right? Like, I feel like often there's such
I'm
like
not doing this because I'm lonely.
Yeah, exactly.
No.
Yeah. Like, we're in this
What?
self-denial. And I think that's like what would set you up for like failure. It's like, just be okay with the fact that like, hey, I'm feeling lonely. And don't judge your feelings for it. Just say I'm lonely. And then like bring that to your friends, and then allow your friends to speak into that. But they will never know they need to speak into that if you don't actually say that you're lonely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know? Because I think that's like I think there's big fear to say you're lonely, because then I think society is like, well, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and even there can be a pride level. That's something that I feel like I navigate where I'm like, I never want to say that I want a relationship, because I'm like, no, I'm fine. I am great on my own, actually.
I am independent.
Yeah, but it's like, it's okay to be like, yeah, that's like something I want.
Yeah, we desire that. We were designed for relationships.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, in Genesis, it said that God made Eve for Adam to be his helper. Like, we were created to be in relationship and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think for me, actually, like a big thing in like realizing that like I'm feeling lonely, like I won't let myself feel that, because I'm like, I'm surrounded by people, I shouldn't be lonely. But I think like what you said earlier, like you can be surrounded by your community and still feel lonely.
Yeah, well, I think it's because I really do. I've heard this like before, and it's really become more real to me. It's because people know the fake you. Like, you have projected your personality or yourself to be like, I'm not gonna be vulnerable. I'm gonna offer you this thing because I know you'll like me. But then you know that you've done that. So what happens is you know that people love the fake you, and you're nervous that they're actually not gonna love the real you. So the entire time, even though you're surrounded by people who love you, you feel like you're still alone because they don't know the real you.
Yeah.
And that's just gonna perpetuate this feeling of like, I am still lonely. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole reason why to combat loneliness is to be vulnerable. And to be and it doesn't have to be a committed like relationship with your boyfriend or girlfriend, but it's like even with your friends, like I will no longer feel alone when I realize I can be myself with my people. You know what I mean? If you can't do that with your friends, how are you gonna do that with your boyfriend or girlfriend?
Yeah, that's very
or how are you
true.
gonna do that when you get married in like the next season, right? Like, that's all the heavy lifting we have to do now, right? I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but like that's my hot take on that whole thing.
I mean, I completely agree. And I think like even then, like once we like really allow ourselves to be known by our community, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's even times where you're like, okay, I'm fully known by my community, but like I still feel a little lonely. And I think there might be a healthy version of that where it's like, hey, this is a healthy loneliness where like I just want someone to do life with, you know?
Yeah, for sure. The companionship, which is that ultimately is what like we're like designed to have.
Yeah.
Of course. That makes total sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you guys were to encourage someone listening, like what are some tangible things that people can do as they process this kind of like, maybe they are in the thick of feeling lonely, and they do think that what would fix this is entering into cuffing season. Like, what are tangible things for them to do next?
Well, I think the first thing we said, I mean, talk with someone who knows you. It's like essentially, I mean, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the second thing is it would be, I mean, it sounds cliche, but I would be not doing it justice if I didn't say it. But even Paul writes in Philippians that like, I found the secret to contentment. And that is recognizing that in any season, either rich or poor, hungry or not, that all these things push me to Jesus.
Yeah.
And that's where Philippians 4:13 comes from, and we quote it out of context. But the whole point is that I can go through these seasons, recognizing that I can do them because I have Christ.
Yeah.
And so I think that's first and foremost is you need to recognize that where is your satisfaction coming from?
Mm-hmm.
People or the Lord, you know? And so I think I have to say that because I think it's important.
Yeah.
You know?
I was going to say, I think one like tangible thing for people to do, and this has been something that like I've like been really trying to work out in my own disciplines is like identifying the lie that you're believing and like actually putting words to that. So like if in this season you're like, I don't feel seen by anyone, like I don't feel like I'm valued or anything like that, like actually saying that out loud or writing it down and then finding in scripture truth that combats that. So like and bringing that to the Lord, like in a confessional way, like Lord, I confess I don't feel seen. And like, I feel like I'm pretty like just worthless right now. But I know that you already call me delighted and I know that you see me. And so help me to believe that more today. And then like, again, taking that and going out with community and kind of like speaking that out to people he's placed around you is super crucial, I think, as we navigate feelings of loneliness.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, sweet. Well, friends, as you navigate cuffing season, just know that we are with you. We are praying for you. And we ask that you take risks to be vulnerable in your community, but also be honest with where you're at and do not judge your feelings for those things. And so with that being said, we cannot wait for our next episode. But until then, we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Well StudentCast. As always, don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends about us. For more information about the Well Student Ministries, visit thewellcommunities.org/students.